Do you struggle with motivation? If you answered yes, then this podcast is for you. Hi, I'm Petra Blend, your host for today, and I'm really pleased today because I'm not going to be talking on my own. I've got a very special guest with me, Caroline Butcher. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, Petra.
Caroline is a master practitioner of NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis, and coaching. And she is also a qualified trainer to teach any of these qualifications if you would be interested. So, how are you, Caroline, today?
I feel fabulous and thank you very much for the warm welcome and really looking forward to having a chat with you today, Petra.
Yes. So I invited Caroline to talk about motivation and consistency because so I got to know Caroline through coaching her. She has been my client for, I was counting like literally just before. Oh, it's almost 9 months now, Caroline. Can you believe that?
Woo!
I know. And
Wow.
through my coaching services, I get to know my clients really well, and we do chat. And I have learned so much from Caroline about how our mind works when it comes to motivation, consistency, negative self-talk, self-doubt, and anything that may be stopping people from either starting or staying consistent with health and fitness goals. And I thought like more people need to know about what Caroline has got to say and to share. So I'm really, really pleased. So if you are somebody who is struggling with motivation, then please have a listen because this is going to be game changer. Also, at the very end, Caroline is going to talk about more about consistency. So if consistency is something that's stopping you, then please listen to the very end. So enough about me and enough about me talking, Caroline. So, Caroline, just describe who Caroline is so the listeners know.
Thank you. Yes. So Caroline is an individual who is very motivated, extremely driven, passionate about almost everything in my life. And probably that's because I make my life as I want my life to be, not what others perceive me to have to be doing or how they see me. I'm not really that bothered. All I want to do is to live the life that I want to live. And so Caroline was in the corporate world for 17 years and got very bored and tired with that and decided to do something more exciting. So that's when I decided to train and become qualified in all of the disciplines that you mentioned earlier. And a key thing for my life really is having that motivation because for those individuals out there who struggle with motivation, um, we have quite a few hurdles to get through when it comes to motivation. And so it's not just dealing with ourselves, it's everything that life throws at us and everything that's going on in everybody else's world that they can also deplete us, deplete our motivation and our energy. And then in the end, we don't live the life that we want to live. So I've got some specifics about motivation. Does that kind of give an intro to what
Yes.
you were looking for? Yeah.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you so much. So, would you like to share a little bit about your journey working towards the fitter, the stronger, and the healthier Caroline from the last 9 months?
Yes, so I decided to start my fitness journey with you, Petra. We met at a networking event, and I sat next to you,
Yeah.
and I just felt that I think within 5 minutes, right, I'm going to work with you. You're so motivational and so inspirational. So I'm very glad that our paths crossed. I was running two very busy businesses and I'm looking after tasks and jobs and clients. And I was always keen and eager to put my health and my fitness journey first. And when I met you, that was the decider point. I booked in, and then since then, I've been coming to see you regularly. So I know we're coming on to consistency later. I wanted to be accountable to another person because I'm the kind of girl that's been to gyms and spent a fortune on gym memberships and not go and say, I'm going to go the next month. And then I haven't gone and I didn't go. And so I needed to be accountable to somebody. Being accountable to myself at that time wasn't good enough. I just found everything else was perhaps more important. I did enjoy swimming and I didn't go very often. So I knew that with your passion and your energy and your drive and your discipline, that was absolutely spot on for what I needed to do to make the difference in my health and fitness journey. And was so excited, and I'm still so excited. And every day when I don't come to see you, I actually really do miss it.
Yeah, it does create a very good routine, doesn't it? And yeah, thank you for the kind words. Yeah,
Well,
it's
they're
been
all true. They're not
yeah.
just kind, they're all true. Yeah.
Thank you. And it's been pleasure to like obviously seeing you progressing and achieving your goals. That's amazing. Just before we touch on the motivation, did you ever struggle with motivation yourself?
Oh, yes. I think we all do. And there's a number of different facets that potentially put barriers and stop us from feeling motivated. And perhaps one of the biggest ones is that it's easier not to. It's
Yeah.
easier to stay in the problem because it does take effort and focus and discipline to be motivated.
Yeah.
And I'll talk a little bit in a moment about where motivation comes from.
Yeah, so let's dive in. So why do we struggle with motivation? Why is it when we feel like we need it the most, it's nowhere to be found, and we do need to get to our habits and our discipline?
So if I focus on NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, motivation comes from a number of different elements and sections within our programming that we have to do anything in life. So, motivation, if we focus on that now, motivation can come from our genealogical path, our hereditary biological factors, when we are in the womb, also between 0 and 7, which are our imprinting years, because we don't have a conscious mind at that point. Everything that we learn and our behaviors, they go into the unconscious, and that is where we get our behaviors from. So, with motivation, we will then be in our modeling period of our age, which is when we're between 7 and 14. So, that's when we learn a lot of behaviors from our family, aunts, uncles, grands, nans, parents, siblings. And it's a way to conform because we learned behavior, and that forms part of our programming. And of course, you can imagine if you have a family that are very disciplined and health conscious, both from what they consume for food or the fitness and how much they spend outside, compared to a family that may well sit on the couch, don't have healthy meals, enjoy the computers and watching TV. That's a really kind of extreme examples I've given just as a comparison, really. It does make an impact on us. So then when we then get to the socializing point in our life, where we've got colleges, friends, universities, we then have a different element. So by the time we're 21, we're basically cooked for motivation.
21. Okay, because
But
my, my
21,
my my daughter is 10, so I'm literally just trying to like because you mentioned the 0 to 7, and
yes.
I didn't even know, you know, obviously I did a little bit, but it's good to hear that I've gone till she's 21.
And then when you're at 21, your programming from an NLP perspective is fully cooked, so to speak.
Hmm.
And unless we have a goal and a vision of where we want to be, Unless we're very clear on our goal and specific about what good looks like, then we're not off to a good start. So the first key thing in terms of motivation is to define that goal.
Yeah.
Some goals can be small. We've talked about this regularly. Um, it could be going for water instead going for a fizzy pop drink. It might be getting 10 minutes out in the fresh air and having a walk, which you know was something I was very reluctant to do when I first started
Yeah.
training with you. But that's kind of added on to my goal, which it relates to my fitness, health, and well-being. So the first key thing for listeners to do is to really think about what can you do to change yourself? What resources do you need? What habits do you need to change? And it will take 7 to 14 days for a new habit to be completely formed in the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind doesn't know real from reality or
Hmm.
not real to real.
Yeah.
And therefore, you have to feed the unconscious mind, which is responsible for all change behavior and learning. So that, we've spoken about self-talk and what we tell ourselves. So if somebody says, oh, on this hand, I really want to be motivated about going to the gym, but on that hand, I really can't be bothered.
Hmm.
The unconscious mind, which is responsible for change, doesn't know what to do with that because it's in conflict.
Yeah.
So think about what you want to do. And the unconscious mind is 80% of the brain. So if you give it the clear patterns, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to make this difference, I'm going to lose 3 pounds in weight, I'm going to start drinking hot water and lemon, I'm going to have my hair cut. It doesn't matter what it is, the motivation, unless you define it and write it down so it's clear, you're not off to a good start. So please think about what it is, what you want to change, be clear about it, write it down and keep telling yourself.
Yeah, it just made me think, going back to the when you said about 7 to 14 and then 21-year-olds. I work predominantly with women 40 plus perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopausal. When we are in that age gap, 7 to 14, 21, we always have, I don't know, teachers, professors, coaches, trainers, don't we, who set us tasks, by the end of the week, you need to do this homework, by
Yes.
the end of this month, you need to be writing an essay. So you always have something. And I almost feel definitely like, I don't know, myself, that when you then lose that, you all of a sudden, like the goals, you talked about goals, all of a sudden you haven't got goals because nobody is giving them to you. Like there is nobody, I became a mom. Yes, I ran two businesses, but unless I did those goals for myself, or unless you hire a coach, then you have to look into those values and the goals yourself, right? Because if there is no coach, personal trainer, life coach, somebody who is telling you what to do, I don't know. I just made me think. It just made me think. Why is it that I was struggling in that period in my, I don't know, mid 20s all the way to 40s with just finding some clarity or goals or just, yeah, just I suppose surviving back then.
Yes, you make a very good point. When we are at that age, we have somebody there to give us the structure, give us the boundaries, give us the targets and the goals. And we adhere because a lot of people want to be compliant, which links into value level 4 people.
Yeah.
Now, that probably won't mean anything to the readers, but to the listeners, the value level 4 are people who will potentially let's give you a story. If you imagine being at a bus stop and you are there with three other people that you know, and the bus rocks up and the doors open, and very often value level 4 people who struggle with motivation We'll allow everybody else to get on the bus first, and then we'll get on last. So that is a very strong metaphor and an illustration that we can become diluted because as we become maybe partners and then we become mothers or then we become business owners, we give and we give and we give and we give and we give more to others than we actually do to ourselves. And so one of the problems for ladies or gents in the 40s, 50s, 60s, the energy levels are low because we're giving more to others than we are to ourselves. And so that then links into resetting of boundaries are very important for motivation.
Yeah.
I hear it so often. A lot of my clients that come to me are not living the life they want to live, and they don't have the ability to say two simple letters, NO. Oh, I couldn't possibly say no, Caroline. I don't want to upset anybody.
Hmm.
Well, the only person that you're upsetting is yourself because you're depleting your opportunity to live the life that you want to live. And because you're saying no, you're actually pleasing everybody else and you're not living your life. So, with motivation, if we can just think, whatever age we're at, how many times have you wanted to say no and yet you've said yes? Because your programming is programming you to say yes.
Hmm.
You want to be liked, you want to be loved, you want to be respected, you want your friends to want you as a friend. We all want that. And we can still have that by recreating our new boundaries, saying no, which gives us more time for us then to feed our motivations about what we want.
Yeah.
And if I may quickly come on to, there are two types of motivation as well. There is a towards motivation and away from motivation.
Hmm.
So if ladies perhaps want to get fitter and healthier, and want to maybe lose weight, um, a towards motivation is I want to look in that mirror and wear clothes that I haven't worn for years because they're looking forward to the future and visualizing who they want to be. If somebody wants to stop smoking and they come to me and say, "Can you help me stop smoking because I don't want to die?" It's an away from motivation, away from death.
Hmm.
Can you see the difference?
Yes.
So think about always when we're motivated, is it an away from motivation, away from something, or is it a towards motivator? And then also motivation, if you think about people who do make New Year's resolutions, they very rarely work because you're only using 20% of your conscious mind
Yeah.
and not your unconscious mind, which is responsible for the change. Does
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah,
make sense?
absolutely. Because if people say, I want to fit into my clothes that don't fit at the moment, they can actually say, I want to improve my health by lowering body fat into healthy range, which then connects much deeper into their health values, and and to the towards motivator. Is that right? Did I say that
Yes,
correct? Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes,
So yeah, so actually like yeah, exactly. If it's I think it's some most of the time and it's okay. It starts with the external motivator, but actually then digging deep and taking the layers off and understanding why the external motivator is there usually does help then find the internal motivator, the towards motivator as you
yes,
described it, to help people stick to it and then show up even when it does get harder. Now, this kind of brings us nicely to the comfort zone because
yes. One of my favorite topics.
yeah, because people are we're talking of habits of years, potentially decades that sometimes people want to break. So why pushing outside the comfort zone matters when we work towards our health and fitness goals?
So pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone is so important to achieve a new level of personal evolution and evolving as we want to evolve, rather than, as I reference it as being stuck. So if you imagine the comfort zone as kind of a little panel here in the middle
Hmm.
going across the
Hmm.
screen, very often we have habits that stay and keep us within the comfort zone. So that might be fish and chips on a Friday night, church on a Sunday. It might be going to the caravan park in Aberystwyth for our holidays every year. You know, if somebody says something, oh, why don't you come away somewhere different with me? Or why don't you book to go abroad this year? Or have you ever thought about wearing a different colour? You know, you tend to wear lots of greys and blacks. Oh no, I couldn't possibly do that. I couldn't wear a different colour. I couldn't go somewhere different on holiday. Um, I certainly couldn't walk into a room of strangers to go to a yoga retreat. And this is because when we stay in our comfort zone, we stay where we are, we stay stuck. When we come out of our comfort zone and do something that makes us feel uncomfortable, please, please always remember, because I'm sure it will resonate with a number of people who may listen to this podcast. It will strengthen your mindset. It will bring you different opportunities. It will take you down different paths. It will enable you to meet the people that you're meant to meet. And although it's uncomfortable when you come out above the top of that comfort zone, you'll feel vulnerable, you'll feel uncertain, you might feel a bit embarrassed, a little bit stupid, very awkward. That those elements don't last for very long because you've done it. And then you'll start to get into the groove. Then the embarrassment will go. Then the interest and the excitement will come. And then the personal evolution comes. And then that's where up here, above the comfort zone, you get the magic.
Hmm.
And we're constantly going from comfort zone up, feeling vulnerable, feeling uncertain, getting the magic. And then guess what? It all starts again.
Hmm.
And we do the same thing again. And this is how we personally evolve. So it's so important to come out of the comfort zone, to live the life that we want to live and be who we want to be. What happens very often, people will come up above out of the comfort zone and it's too awful, it's too awkward, it's too embarrassing, and then they quickly go back in. Well, as Henry Ford said, if we carry on always doing what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got.
Hmm.
And so comfort zone links into imposing a pattern interrupt for ourselves and for change.
Yes, love that. Love that. We talked about setting boundaries a little bit and about the importance of saying no. I also feel like I know it can be hard to start with to say no to people or to things that we've always said yes to, but I like the way that has helped me is like saying no to something or somebody, it means we're saying yes to what we want and to the person we want to be. So going back to the resetting boundaries, in terms of obviously pushing outside the comfort zone, doing things that are hard, a lot of people will find that difficult and will doubt themselves, will find that really challenging and will question, everything. So where does self-doubt come from, and how can we look at it to help us overcome it?
Self-doubt will definitely come from the imprinting years between 0 and 7,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
maybe genealogically passed down or hereditarily,
Mm-hmm.
because this is the time in our lives when we don't have the conscious mind And therefore, in the unconscious, everything that goes into that unconscious we believe. So that forms our belief system, our value system, our right and our wrongs. And I mean, believing in Santa Claus is a classic one. So those years we're
Hmm.
taught that
Hmm.
he's real and we believe in it.
Yeah.
And then as we go through different programming years, we then most come to disbelieve. There are some that still do believe.
Yeah.
And so it's the time span of how we grow up to when we're 21. There will be self-doubt in there, and that will be driven from teachers saying to pupils, "Oh, you'll never do any good.
Hmm.
You won't ever become anything important." Or a grandmother saying, "Well, I've never worked. Your mum's never worked. You'll never work."
Hmm.
Um, and sadly, for those children that want to feel inspired and have ambition and have motivation and have dreams and goals, inevitably, because of the way we're brought up, sadly, those can be squashed or diluted. But it equally works the other way when a child doesn't want to do something, and we've got the parents who are encouraging them and putting pressure on them to be something that they really don't want to be. So I think it's at age 21, you've then got the ability to make the decision on who you want to be. And it's really important that you surround yourselves with a peer group and friends and people who are like-minded.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you go to a social group and they're happy to sit there and everybody takes a cake and likes having cake, or on a Friday at work, everybody brings in the chocolate. Um, it's habitual behavior to be accepted, and going against that behavior, you need a lot of strength to then think, no, I've got the ability to go against that. I know what I want, and I've got the ability to do that, and I will do that, and I will go out of my comfort zone, and I will get my dream.
Yeah, you answered the question just there because I was going to ask. I actually felt really emotional because I think we all have found ourselves, or some more, some less, in a situation where you start questioning the values and beliefs you were brought up on, and actually start questioning, like, oh, I'm not sure about this. And, we all then start working towards who we want to be. And I actually got really emotional because a lot of women may find themselves in that position to say, right, actually, I want to change that. But how do they change it? What, like, like some people will feel stuck. Some women will feel stuck in that cycle, in those beliefs and in those values. Um, what would you tell those people? Some people, somebody who really wants to make the change, but let's say, it's really hard to push out of the comfort zone. It's really hard to say no. It's really hard to set this boundary. What would be the one thing that you can tell them to help them overcome it?
From from a sales pitch, Petra, I'd
Come and
say
see
they
Caroline.
need to come and see me.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
They need to come and see me for a session.
yeah.
And that's important to mention that I never judge. As a HR director for 16 years, I've seen a lot and I never judge anybody. And it's about building up that trust and feeling valued. And what I would say to them is simply, if you do not live the life you want to live for you, nobody else is going to live your life for you. So
Mm.
wouldn't it be wonderful to start baby steps? in being who you want to be. And the first thing to remove of self-doubt, and it's too difficult, is potentially take themselves to 2 years from now and ask them to look back and say, what would you have changed? What would you have done to now be sitting in that chair and living the life you want to live? Because now's the time to make the change. Many people will say, oh, I've got the flowers to do for the church, or I've got a cooking session, or I've got to go to an event networking, and oh, I've worked so hard, I'm so tired, I'll come back, sit on the sofa, and go for the chocolate because they want that self-love. Now, when they start the different journey and doing pattern interrupts, improving their confidence, improving their self-belief, improving their self-love, because we all should have that. And I see so many clients and so many ladies that sadly have lost that for a number of reasons. It's not because they're weak, it's society, it's ecology. And I want all of my clients to feel a new level of self-belief. It starts with them and it starts now.
Yeah.
And you will know this from the many clients that you have from a health and fitness point of view and being stronger. It's just having that strength to say no, write down on a piece of paper your self-love aspects, your self-belief aspects, and maybe 3 things that you're going to change now. Because then the more you do something, the more your unconscious mind realizes it's learning and it will never take you back to where you were. You just need 7 days to start doing things differently and you will notice a difference.
Yeah. And I can highly recommend Caroline. I went to Caroline a couple of times to help me exactly challenge things that I was not happy with, and I didn't know how to overcome them. And Caroline has 100% helped me overcome those barriers. I felt like on cloud nine. I always say that. So when I talk to other people, Caroline, about your services, so yeah, I can 100% recommend Caroline. I think you have brought a very different perspective, hopefully, to the listeners about motivation and stuff that, and how our mind and conscious and unconscious mind works. Just before we wrap up, we did say we're going to just touch on a consistency a little bit. So even though I think we have done, you did mention a couple of things. So why is consistency difficult for some people when it comes to, let's talk about the health and fitness goal?
This is where it's a challenge for individuals because I find clients come to me and they might be in what we call a double bind, which is they want to get out of the problem and they want to do something different, but it's easier to stay in the problem. So they stay in the double bind because it gives them something like comfort and it avoids them failing. So consistency, the key component to success is consistency.
Yeah,
And whether that be new hobbies, weight training, exercising, suddenly we might get that inner voice that says to us, this is too hard, it's too difficult, it takes up my time, it takes up my energy, it takes up so much effort, and I haven't got the results. Well, we have to be patient. And it was interesting when you said that I've been coming to see you now for nearly nine
yeah.
months.
At the end of the April, it will be 9 months. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel fantastic. I feel the best I have felt in years. And if I cast my mind back to week 3 or 4 that I was coming to see you, I felt the same. And I could have said, this is too hard. I can't afford it. I haven't got the time. I really don't want to do it. My muscles hurt. When I look in the mirror now and I think, wow, fantastic. I'm so thrilled. So to keep consistency, always remember your goals. Always remember the end goal, whether that be visual or a feeling that you have. Um, Consistency keeps you away from a transitional curve. So we go up, we feel great, but then we come down, of course. So, and you will be teaching this, and you see this every day. But when we go up, we need to keep the consistency here instead of going on that downward. And when we start saying no to other people and we do things for us and we keep our boundaries intact, that strengthens our ability to stay consistent and not to drop off. Always remember your goals, keep motivation consistent, and very, very importantly, is celebrating success. It might just be a lipstick, it might be half an hour walk, it might be reading a book, it could be having your hair or your nails done. I always treat myself when I know I've been consistent. And you keep telling me over and over and over again when we talk about consistency. And I've said, oh, I had a half a bottle of wine, at Easter, or I've had a pack of hot cross buns. And you will very calmly say, Caroline, it's consistency. It's about what you do consistently.
Yeah.
And so the 80-20 rule
Yes. Yeah.
gives us consistency as well.
Yeah, because the results are achieved by what we do consistently and not occasionally. And let's be honest, we talked about it last week. Easter is there to be it's for the hot cross buns to be
Yes,
eaten. So
yes.
they're not, not going to be looking at them, are we? So that's fantastic, Caroline. This has been great, and yeah, again, I've learned so much, and I believe this will be very valuable podcast to the listeners. So thank you so much. For the listeners, if you feel like you need Caroline's or my support to help you get started or get unstuck, I'm going to leave our information and contact details in the show notes. So do get in touch and have a chat about how we can help. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with those who may find it valuable as well. And don't forget to rate it with a 5-star review, because the more review the podcast gets, it will reach more people. So, Caroline, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's been great chatting to you. And listeners, thank you so much for listening, and have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.